G'day everyone, and welcome back to Apaya Puzzles, and welcome indeed to the Waffle Drome, where today we have our third installment of the Golden Waffle Awards. So far we've had a DA and an LR winner. The last weekend I didn't do one because I'd been sick for the previous week, so I didn't do many crosswords. So this is making up for that. This is a wrap on the best clues that I've seen in the last couple of weeks, and we're gonna have a look through them and then crown the winner of this week's Golden Waffle. Now there is a clue at the bottom there that's not in the running. I'll explain that when I get to it. But as for the clues that we have at hand, one across here: US state nominates loony. This from Liam Runnalls. Not sure which of the publications this was from, but pretty straightforward clue, but I just like that it is very appropriate given current shenanigans in the United States. US state is the definition, and nominates is an anagram of it, loony being the anagram indicator. And if you mix up that word nominates, you will get Minnesota. So a lovely, easy but topical kind of clue from LR. That is his stock in trade. I was actually admiring, looking through, I think, yesterday's or Saturday papers, LR, just how good LR's surface readings are. It's almost unique amongst crossword setters. So, three across. This was from David Astle. Bootleg, there's actually a couple here from DA. Bootleg film content on a Roman cardinal. I included this one actually more to demonstrate a very tricky bit of wordplay that I think I've only seen this used by DA. I'm sure it's used by others. But we've got the final definition here is bootleg. And film content is, unsurprisingly, the content of the word film, so that's IL. And you might be thinking this might be illegal or illicit, and it is illegal. And when I solved it, I was a bit thrown because I thought, how is a Roman cardinal the word legal? And actually, I initially thought that this was licit, thinking that a Roman cardinal could be the number LICI, but then the T didn't seem to work. But it is illegal. And the A is the A in the clue. The Roman cardinal is L for 50, and leg here is the word on, which is a reference from cricket. So that might throw some. I think the first time I saw that in a DA, I had no idea. It was actually just a three-letter answer, gel, GEL, which required you to turn the word leg around, and I had no idea what was going on. Now, five across, another DA. Stoically accept worst minute abed. This is a difficult clue, and it depends on some difficult synonyms, some misdirection in terms of part of speech, and a cool indicator in the word abed. So abed means in bed, and so we might imagine that this clue is going to have some words that are inside another word for bed. And that is what's happening. So we have a cot, the very common synonym pairing in cryptics. Bed meaning cot. Actually, I think it's like that. That would make more sense. And then in between, we need a word for worst and a word for minute. And in fact, it's not minute, but minute. So the word for worst is pits. And the word for minute is wee. So cop it sweet. I don't know if that's an Australianism only. It feels very Australian to me, but I wonder if any international viewers would understand that term. So to cop it sweet means to take something stoically. And yeah, just a beautiful kind of arrangement of very difficult elements to think of worst and pits, to think minute is in fact minute and therefore we, and then to wrap it all up in the cot. That's a very nice play. Just noticing there's a question mark on that clue. Not really needed. It's not really skew if that, it's just difficult. So, seven across. Now this was from Hex. I think that's the way they're referred to. I've forgotten their names now. It's a couple who I've just discovered who has a history of hundreds of puzzles going back to 1977, I think, up until today, of these kind of variety puzzles. So cryptics and other things with some additional meta stuff going on. So I did one of those during the week. By the way, I will put a link to each of the puzzles that I've done that these come from that I've done over the last week or two in the description if you want to check them out. The hex one is an epic solve. I think it's like 2.5 hours, but it was a really fun puzzle. So, male and female kiss surrounded by witnesses. One thing about it is that the cryptic cluing itself wasn't very difficult. There were a few that stumped me, but on the whole, the cryptic element of it was very passable, in the sense of being able to be passed, not just passable. So, male and female kiss surrounded by witnesses. So, this is not very difficult either, but it's a nice little surface reading. So, we're going to have a kiss in the middle, which is an X, and that's going to be surrounded by a word for witnesses, which is C's, and sexes are male and female. So it sounds like a nice little wedding ceremony. I did think when I read this, maybe man and woman kiss would feel more natural. I suppose man and woman are technically not sexes, but it would have been a nicer surface reading, so a bit of a way up there. Excuse me. Now, this one from Ulf. Now, Ulf is out of left field. Two of my favourite cryptic setters from the US, who've been, again, for many years, been setting cryptics. I've been working back through their back catalogue from The Nation, and this was from one of theirs. Darkness engulfs Libya's capital. After many years, this could vanquish it, ? 4-5. So quite a complex, long clue, and an interesting surface reading for a fairly short answer, 4-5. So what do we have happening here? This could vanquish it is the definition, and this is kind of a it's not exactly an and lit, but that definition refers to what's going on in the rest of the clue. So darkness, another word for darkness, we need a 5-letter word that's going to go around the outside. It's going to engulf something, and that word is night. So we start with N and we end with IGHT. And you might get the idea this could be a light because it's a 5-letter word and it has something to do with vanquishing darkness, apparently. So that L is there. Where does that come from? Well, Libya's capital is the L. And then after many years, well, many years is an eon. So we get neon light, which of course is something that could vanquish darkness. So that's a lovely bit of wordplay and kind of circular referencing. And finally, this clue here, which is not in the running for the golden waffle, because I did not solve it myself, but it did come up. Cracking the Cryptic mentioned it. I'm not sure if they did the full solve or they just mentioned the clue. I couldn't find the video now, but this was from the Times, and I believe it's from Dean Mayer, who is otherwise known as Anax, and One in Happiness Born Free. Now, I think I would not have been able to solve this because I don't know the reference to the film Born Free, and that's what's going on here. But at the same time, technically the wordplay itself is solvable. It just would be hard to understand why the final answer was correct if you didn't know the film. So there is a film called Born Free, which is about a couple that raises some lion cubs, one in particular, who they eventually try to release into the wild. And I don't know the full ending of that film. I haven't watched the film. I don't know whether they are successful. I watched the preview on YouTube. It looks like an interesting film. And it was a true story that was made into a film. Now, One in Happiness Born Free. So we need to find a word for happiness and put one inside of it. But the happiness is not quite complete because it is free of a letter representing the word born. So born is often abbreviated to B. So we need to find a word for happiness and take out its B and then put inside of all of that the word one, literally. And the word for happiness that we're looking for is bliss. So if we take out the B, we get liss, and if we put li and ss around the outside of one, we get lioness, and we get a pass on the crossword. And there we go. And lioness, of course, is the subject matter of the film Born Free. So that is an absolutely wonderful clue, one of a number of clues from that crossword that they mentioned. Apparently Dean Mayer is something of a wizard, and that clue seems to indicate that. But as for our game, we're interested in the crosswords that I managed to solve myself, and it's time to award the golden waffle. Let's see if we can move this. Yeah, oh, there he is. Okay, so where will the golden waffle land today? Difficult decision as always. We've got LR with a beautiful surface reading, DA with a couple of clues, a couple of pretty difficult ones, and an unusual reference to the word on. Male and female kiss surrounded by witnesses, nice surface reading, and of course we've got our neon light from out of left field, which was a long and complicated clue with a nice bit of circularity about it. And I have decided that this week's golden waffle will indeed be awarded to neon light from out of left field. I have very low technology situation here, so I don't have a nicer way of highlighting this than just to move my little waffle around in the vicinity of the winner. Congratulations to out of left field. Henry Picciotto and Joshua Cosman are their names. Again, links in the description to the videos, and those guys have a website where they sell and publish a whole bunch of stuff as well, so worth checking out. American setters, but not too heavily dependent on American language, which is cool. So the golden waffle goes to them this week, and I'll have to build a little kind of leaderboard. So currently we've got an LR, a DA, and an ULF on that board, and there'll be more crosswords to come. I'm hoping to incorporate some other crosswords soon, such as some UK ones like the Times, the Guardian, etc. And definitely some more hex puzzles as well. They were very interesting. So I will leave you there. I'd love to know what you thought about this. When one day I have 7 million subscribers, of which you may be one, we could even put this out to public voting. But until then, it will be me making the executive decisions. But thank you so much for coming along, and I'll be back soon with more crosswords and more Sudoku. And next week, hopefully, another waffle off. And indeed, I'll stop waffling myself and see you all again soon.